Weekend update here on the 4th. Just going to go over all these charts. I've looked at them pretty far in depth because next week is a very pivotal week, and if you don't have your counts right, then there's a very good chance that you're going to do something stupid. The more I go back and look at this, it looks like an A wave to me. This does not look like a 5-wave move. So I still favor this being an overall B wave, in which this could come up here. My target on the final move higher is probably somewhere around 408, potentially 420 to 430 is kind of my overall target. So that's still basically another 10% higher. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are pretty set in stone, I think. I don't think we're going to come back down here now, just looking at this chart more and make it a lower low. It's still possible, but the way that we came off this low in the last week or so kind of makes me think this fourth wave is over with. It's about the same length and time as the first and second wave. So I think we are on the fifth wave here. So now going into the fifth wave, a few different possibilities. This has not hit the 1.61 fib yet. 1.61 fib is at 384. So I think one of the possibilities is we start off next week going like this up here to 384, and then we pull back to like 377, 378, and then we make a new high here around 392, potentially like 397, something like that. I think that's the first possibility. The second possibility, we are outside of the parallel line here. This third wave, if you go on smaller time frames, looks like it could be finished. It hit this supply zone and bounced off. We could already be in a fourth wave. We don't have that red candle on the daily yet. So if this third wave is already complete, I would look for some red overall on Tuesday. This is the bearish count, basically. Chop around, come back down here. I look for like 375, and then after that we go higher and probably hit. We wouldn't hit as high in that case. You probably hit like 392. So that would look like this, kind of like that. So that's kind of the two possibilities I see on this. And then it kind of remains to be seen, is that going to be the fifth wave high? Because the first wave here is showing about 408. So if that is not the fifth wave high, that could just be wave 1 of 5 if we get some kind of blow off top, huge move higher. This would just mean either way that we go up early in the week up here, and then people, start shorting here, and we get a pullback. Let's say we get a 392. We get a pullback going into October, because I'm pretty bearish overall into October. We get a pullback to 373, potentially all the way down here to 362, and that ends up being a wave 2. So something like this, and then we get an even bigger move. If that were the case, considering this one will probably go to at least 392, then I'd be looking for something around 416 for a third wave pullback, and probably between 420 and 430 before this is all said and done. So it would look like this. And I think that this is probably more likely than this being the top, just based on what I think is going to happen over the next, 3 to 6 months. If we pull back here and this takes, let's say this takes till the end of the week, so Thursday, and we get a pullback that takes a couple of weeks down here to like 367, that's going to take us all the way into late September, maybe even early October. And then the third wave would probably take a while. That would probably take, a month or two. to get up here to 416. So we're looking at that point being in, let's go to the daily. At that point, we're looking at maybe going into like December. And then we pull back here, maybe through December to like low 400s, and then we get a fifth wave high into the spring. And who knows how high it'll go, but my minimum target is really around 408. I would be surprised if the top was right here at 392. This looks like a fifth wave though, so we'll see how it plays out. Overall, minimum target is probably 392. So, and that's surprising if that would be the top. Because I'm still expecting something to come up whenever he pauses rates and then maybe starts cutting again. I don't know if that's going to happen or when that's going to happen, but even if he pauses, looking for some kind of move way higher. So I think this is probably the most likely scenario. So either look for a small pullback on Tuesday to 375 and then a move higher to like 392, or up here to 384. Up here to 384, pull back, and then a move up here to like 397. So that's QQQ. And I still think, again, that this is probably a B wave. I think this is a very extended C wave overall. If we hit 408, that's right above all-time highs. That's when people will start piling in, probably get some FOMO. And then and it probably could go higher than that too. If it goes to 420, 430, everyone's going to think it's going to keep on going higher. And then they do a rug pull and we get a move that takes us down here for a C wave overall. Let's zoom out on the chart and just look at so this took, it actually only took about a year. So this could be finished too, I guess. And we're looking for a fifth wave. If you're taking the bottom here and looking at how high the fifth wave is going to go, that's kind of insane. 751, that's probably not going to happen. But I guess this could be finished. But again, I see this as an A wave and a B wave. So I still think this is probably going to be a more long drawn out fourth wave. Overall, A, B, and a C wave potentially all the way down here. There's gap fills at 210. There's one at 182 and one at 171. That would get us outside the parallel line, and then the real melt up will happen after that. So I don't consider this the overall huge melt up that David Hunter and all those people are calling for yet. I don't think we're there yet. So that would probably happen in like 2025, 2026. Probably going to go along with like hyperinflation too, I would think, because the dollar would be getting weaker, so asset equity prices would be going up. So that's kind of my take on QQQ. A little bit higher, probably going into the end of the year, and then we should get 2024 should be pretty bearish. Tesla now. Went over this chart on the long term. And this video is going to be pretty long, by the way. I'll put out some timestamps. This is definitely, in my opinion, this has got to be a fifth wave here. So 1, 2, third wave ends right here. Fourth wave ends right here. But this fifth wave could take a while. Trying to think of how that aligns with QQQ. Maybe QQQ is, it could be in a fifth wave. I'm still not going to rule it out, I guess, because some of these charts are kind of contradicting each other. But overall, I think that Tesla is either in an ending diagonal, or it's in a nested wave 3. One, we'll get a second wave back down here, and then we get something like this, and then that's only the third wave, pull back, and even higher than that. So short term on Tesla though, I went over this in the last video. I think that the move down is not finished yet, unless, again, the only possible way, again, would have to be another nested move. But this does not even get outside the parallel line. So I think that this is most likely going to end up being something like this. But either way, if this is a nested move, regardless, or if it's ABC, I'm bullish from here. It might come back down here and fill the gap down here in 236 to 239. I think there's a gap there. Now, there's no gap there, actually. It's just a demand zone right there. And regardless, this is definitely a corrective move down. So we're going to get higher prices in the short term, probably going to 290 regardless. But who knows? Maybe this is the end of the fourth wave and this ends up being a nested move too. Regardless, it doesn't matter how it plays out. I just think that this is a fifth wave. Somehow it's going to play out. We got potentially 1, 2, and then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. Pull back, and then we get a fifth wave higher. So it would surprise me if Tesla, and I know it's not going to, most likely, come down here and make like new lows, because we already retraced as far as this fourth wave should retrace. So it's most likely a nested move or a diagonal. On Monday or on Tuesday, I'm expecting maybe down here to 236 to 239 if QQQ goes down to 375, and then a move higher up here to 290 if QQQ goes up to like 392 to 397. And then that would play out perfectly with the dump back to like 360s for Tesla to do something like this. So, but again, this could also be nested move in itself. I know there's so many different possibilities, but where we get this like that, as long as it makes new all-time highs, which is way up here. So if it's a nested move, then we're looking at something for a third wave actually around like 290. Let's just say it goes like this. And then you're looking at something probably up here to like 330, same length as wave 1. And then another pullback, so 1, 2, something like that. So regardless, Tesla is likely going higher. If bears can get it pulled back down here to 200 or so, they'd be lucky. I think it probably bottomed here, to be honest. Like, that was a pretty big correction. Look at the length of this one. This one took February 9th to April 27th. That's about 2.5 months. This one took about 2 months. So really, do you think about how long it would take to come up here and then come all the way back down here? It doesn't make that much sense for it to come lower. And then this is corrective down. I just see this is probably finished, to be honest. It's probably going to go to new highs, and let's just look on the standard deviations where we're at. So on standard deviations too, you can see we're perfect position right now to come up here and hit highs. It can stay within on the daily and go all the way straight up from here and go to 320, go to 350 and still be at the +2 standard deviations. On the weekly, it can come up here to like 328 currently. And so yeah, basically early next week 236 to 239 is possible, but I just expect higher prices. I don't see the downside here unless it ends up being a corrective move up here, but I'm still looking for like 290 here short term. NVDA, so NVIDIA, here's the long-term chart. We have 1, 2, and I think we're still in wave 3. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th wave of the 3rd wave is about finished. And I can show you, so I showed you that's the 3rd wave right there. And you can use parallel lines here now. This makes it easier to actually see it. And it makes it so you don't really have to chart it as much. 3rd wave right here, outside the parallel line, pullback. Okay, 4th wave right there. And then we get 1, 2, and you can see this right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, pullback 4, new highs. 5th wave is where we're in on the overall 3rd wave. So now let's zoom in on the 5th wave. 1, 2. Where's the only red candles in the weekly? Right here, 3, 4. So if it's the same length as the 1st wave, NVIDIA could be going all the way up to 700 bucks. I know it seems kind of crazy, but it's possible. Let's zoom in even farther now. We're on the 4th wave here. This is the 5th wave right here. So most likely, and this is like a very easy chart. Like this is one of the best long-term charts for Elliott wave I've seen in a while. Once I actually started looking at it. So this right here is most likely wave 1. So we get 5 waves up from the bottom of wave 4 right here. And then we get this pullback right here, which is actually, it actually looks like 5 waves to me. I have it labeled as A right now. I'm not 100% sure on that, but just knowing where QQQ is, and it's probably going to get a pullback into October, I would imagine this is a B wave, but it can still come up here higher in the short term. It's kind of hard to chart this one right here. Let's just see. Yeah, it's some kind of B wave in my opinion. So even if it comes up here, let's say it comes up here and makes a new high, and QQQ goes to 390, I think that there's a very good chance we come back down here and hit 430 within the next month or two. That is the gap fill. That's daily demand. That would be a second wave. So this would be first wave, second wave, and then you can see after that, third wave would take us to 576, pullback, and then you're looking at 650 to 680. So, yeah, just based on the length of wave 1, I don't think this is finished yet. It could be finished though, but then we're not getting the right, and we do have a 5-wave move here, and this is a pullback. It has held the high. So it is technically possible that this is the top, but just based on what I think the QQQ and all the rest are going to do, this is probably just wave 1 of 5. So this is probably going to go to like 650 to 700 bucks. And let me zoom back out here. $650 to 700 bucks. Let's just see if but then this one right here is saying we already topped out. So if we measure from this first wave. So we'll have to just watch the video. Is it topped out there? Or is it going to go higher? Is that just wave 1 of 5? How long did this move take? Wave 1 took us about 2 months. This move started in August. So most likely, again, this is probably wave 1. Just based on what I think the market's going to do. Overall, 650 to 670. And then if we look at it, zoom out here again, that is only wave 3. So if that's wave 3, let's say we go to 670, it could pull back all the way to 126 bucks and be a wave 4, which seems kind of crazy to me. It probably won't pull back that much if it goes to 650, but I could see it pulling back to like 300 bucks or so. Who knows? But let's just say wave 4 goes to 300 bucks. Then you're looking for another move higher, probably hitting in the high 800-900, maybe even 1,000 bucks. So they'll probably do a reverse split by then, though. So yeah, there's the video. Look for potential upside short term, and then probably a pullback to 435. Google is a different chart than the rest of them. I think that, well, I haven't gone over Microsoft or Apple yet. So compared to Microsoft and Apple, it's a different chart. I think this is in wave 3, finishing up wave 3. So I would be looking for this to hit at least 141 gap fill. I think it's likely, unless it's a nested move, it's likely in wave 5, and then within wave 5, we are sitting at a 4th wave, looking for a 5th wave up here to like 142, and then that would complete the overall 3rd wave. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'd be the 3rd wave overall right here. And then we're going to pull back and go higher. So Google, a little bit different than the rest of them, but I would look for 141 gap fill. After that, it's probably going to make new all-time highs almost for sure. We're looking at potential pullback to like 130 or so, and then let's just see. Probably something up into like the 160, 170, 180 range to complete the overall 5 waves. Microsoft, I changed this. I think this is a 3rd wave right here. I had it as a B wave, and but then this move right here is corrective. So I think that Microsoft is starting the 5th wave higher. Get rid of this. So again, on the 5th wave higher here, we are looking at it wave 1, wave 2, likely wave 4 here. but kind of similar to QQQ. I think this is probably going to finish up early next week. Maybe gap fill up here. And then this can only be wave 1. Probably need something like this. And that will be wave 3. So something like that, pull back, and then wave 5. Still going to go make new highs in my opinion. There is a possibility, very slim possibility, that this ends up being a B wave. The reason I say slim possibility is because this is corrective right here. So I think it's probably going to go higher and gap fill. In the slim possibility that it comes back down here, then we just know wave 1 finished right there, wave 2, and then you can just expect it to go to the normal wave 3 area, but it's probably going to come up here to the 2.61 fib because it's got to make new highs. So I am looking for probably the nested move, which again is this. So look for higher on Microsoft this week. And then let's look at the whole chart here on the log chart. It's a very strange chart. It almost looks like an ABC move to me, because you can't really see the first and second wave. I'm assuming that this is the third wave and this is the fourth wave. So it's not exactly clear. So in that reason, I think this is probably the fourth wave of the overall fifth wave. And if that's the case, then we are finishing out the overall fifth wave here. Or again, it could be, it's probably finishing out the overall fifth wave, but it could be this. So it doesn't really matter in the long term. Short term is all that we care about, and I think the fourth wave has completed. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Look for the fifth wave up to minimum like 388. So I'm long like Microsoft right now. I don't see any reason not to be long this. I'm not afraid if it falls down here again. Might go to 300, but that's very unlikely at this point. I think they pretty much got to push the price up now. If they lose this bottom one more time, then it's going to take a lot to get it back up here. I think they're just ready to go right now. Apple is in the same position. And I actually did a count on this. Extended fifth wave here. So 1, 2 back here 97. Then we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, and then this is where the extended fifth wave happens. Whoops. We get 1, 2, and then the third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave right here. There's a chance this is the overall fifth wave. I think it might be in line with NVDA. Some of these are kind of hard to figure out, but again, I'm just going to go to the smaller time frame. This is either the fifth wave, final move higher, or it's the overall third wave. This one's easy to see though, obviously. 1, 2, 3, 4, starting the fifth wave higher. And on the smaller time frame, we are in the same position as QQQ. Are we going to go up here and fill the gap, maybe fill up this gap too, 195, and then pull back? Or are we going to pull back here and then fill these gaps here in a little bit? It could go either way. So it's either going to be this, or we're going to get this. And this fifth wave could go all the way up here to 205. If it's going to match wave 1, takes it to 205. $205, 206. So that might actually be the end of it. So that's showing that QQQ might actually top out short if this ends up being the fifth wave. All these projections, obviously, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I have a pretty good idea of the minimum we're going to go to. And so on this chart, QQQ, you're going to want to be out regardless. You're going to want to be out of your positions. If we go to 392 to 397 here in the next week, you're going to want to sell everything, because the fact that we don't know if this is going to go up here doesn't really matter. All that matters is this wave right now. We know this is going to be 5 waves right here. So when it's coming down, it could go to new lows, or it could make a second wave. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's going to come back down here to a minimum 360, 370. So you want to be out. So all my projections on long term, right or wrong, don't really matter that much. You need to focus on the short term. So Apple, looking for at least 205. Meta. Meta's a tough one. I think that it could come down here and gap fill at 267. Maybe it comes a little bit higher here. It could be starting a move higher, but it's kind of hard to tell. It looks like an ABC move here to me. On the weekly and monthly, though, I think that this is a B wave. This is a 5-wave move. I think this can come up here to 360 at some point, and then it's going to come down here and probably hit these lows one more time, or it's really hard to say that, though, because that was such a big move. It's hard to say it's going to come all the way back down here to these lows. And this looks like an impulsive move, so maybe I'm wrong and this was actually the second wave. This will end up being, this could be end up being the wave 1, pull back, and then get something like this. Amazon. I have this hitting at least 160 at some point. It likely finished wave 3 right there. And it is probably starting wave 4, in which I think it's going to bounce a little bit more. So this could be A, bounce B, get a C wave down here, and then we make the move up here to 163 to gap fill. So Amazon looks like it has about close to 20%, not quite, but about 20%. Meta could potentially have 20% higher. Apple, kind of hard to say right now. If this ends up being wave 1 of the 5th wave, then it could potentially have, I guess right now it has about 10% higher. Microsoft, 388, I'm looking for at least about 20% as well. A little bit less than 20%. Google, this goes to 160. I'm looking for it to at least go about 20%. NVDA, if it's only in wave 1, if it goes to 650, that would make it another, that'd be about 40%. So we'll see on the video. It's kind of hard to say, but we know that it's probably going to come up here a little bit higher at least. Probably 600 to 700 bucks, which would be about what, 30% higher maybe. Tesla, if this goes and makes new highs, it's at 245. The high is at 415. Potentially the highest gainer here. So it potentially has the most upside. But again, short term, I'm looking for 290. And QQQ, minimum 408. That gives us about a little bit less than 10% upside minimum. So hopefully this video gives you a little bit of insight. Obviously, it's not exact. It's all about probabilities. And I'll leave some timestamps, a very long video on tickers. And that's pretty much it. But I'm expecting upside probably over the next week or so, potentially into OPEX on the 15th. We should see some upside, and then I'm looking for some downside over the next month after that. So that's pretty much the base thesis going forward. So up and then down for a month, and then probably going to go up after that, maybe November, December, into early spring. That's it. All right. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. I'll talk to you soon.